Bill Williamson is a 23-year-old man living in Tenderville, Oregon. He's frustrated by the economic crisis, earth pollution, and war. To express his rage, he punches a punching bag and throws darts at human body illustrations. However, outside of his room and facing his parents, he appears to be a calm person who is emotionally attached to them. Bill's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Williamson, want him to be independent and have goals so that he can succeed in life. In order for him to do so, they ask him to prepare for moving into his own place. Bill simply sneers at them and calmly says it takes time to save money for his post-education. In response, they even offer him financial support, but he doesn't accept it and seems to be comfortable wherever he is. When the argument gets intense, Mrs. Williamson wraps it up by setting up a family gathering for that afternoon. Bill then goes to a coffee shop and orders a double espresso macchiato with extra foam. The barista in the coffee shop fills orders quickly, but Bill thinks his coffee isn't exactly what he ordered and wants his money back. The barista just sniggers and tells him it's a good coffee and he won't be taking the money back, causing Bill to storm out after giving him a meaningful gaze. In the following scene, Bill can be seen repairing a van, indicating that he's a part-time mechanic who is working in a garage. At the same time, his boss appears out of nowhere and points out that he shouldn't waste all this time on this stupid van and he better be fixing another car right away. Against his will, Bill temporarily dismisses the van after putting a bag in it before leaving. Soon after, Bill meets his only friend Evan in a parking lot. Evan, a leftist philosopher who opposes social norms as well as overpopulation issues, hands him two boxes. Bill shares that his father recently became skeptical of the packages. They then go to the chick-in den to have a meal. Evan makes an attempt to flirt with the counter woman, but it doesn't seem to work out. Seconds later, she accidentally spills their meals on them. Evan gets pissed by the accident and wants his money back. However, she refuses and tells him she can just redo their orders. Meanwhile, Bill tries to calm his friend and begins a serious discussion about the world's problem. Evan believes that since the world's population is increasing really fast, we don't need those who are destroying the environment. He also mentions the effects of overpopulation on the Earth, including air pollution and the ozone hole. Evan repeatedly claims that world needs a change, yet he doesn't have an acceptable response to Bill's question. What kind of change? Who is going to do it? And what are you going to do as a person? At the end of the line, Bill asserts to his friend that he is all talk and no action. However, Evan remains hopeful that someday this problem will be solved by someone else who will make it happen. After that, Bill goes back home, where his parents have been waiting for him to talk about moving. Bill offers to postpone the conversation until the following morning because he has some very exciting news to share with them. They unavoidably accept the news and develop curiosity about it. Bill is attempting to put together Kevlar armor in his room using parts that he sent over time to Evan's house. Later, while he's working with wires, Evan uploads a video to YouTube in which he reiterates his worries. The world, in Evan's opinion, needs someone who stands up and believes in action. He reiterates this point, saying that what we need is a change. All Bill does is snigger in response to these. Word for word, he repeats Evan's speech as if he has been exposed to it frequently ever since their relationship started. He prints a lot of fake money and starts working out a few seconds later. The following morning, Bill informs his parents that he plans to be particularly active today. He has therefore taken the day off and is planning to complete some college applications for a mechanical engineering major. He also expresses regret for what previously occurred and assures them that he hopes to find meaning in his life. Mr. and Mrs. Williamson are overjoyed to learn this, and they proudly report to work after applauding Bill's wise choice. The real plan begins as soon as they leave. He goes into his room and retrieves a weaponry kit that contains pistols, submachine guns, machetes, and even a wireless detonator. He prepares the weapons and dons his custom-made bulletproof iron armor suit, which includes a paintball mask and a ballistic helmet that makes him appear to be a member of a SWAT team. We see his video. Bill is concerned about the resource shortage that our society is experiencing and is tired of people who always put their own needs before those of others. As a solution, he calmly suggests that we kill everyone whose existence is detrimental to society and who is using up our resources. Later, he replaces his vehicle with the one without a license plate. The broken van that he had previously repaired is visible as he walks for the center of the town. He uses a wireless device to start and steer the van, and he drives it into the police department's building without hesitation. He then detonates the bomb in the van and renders the police station inoperable so he can proceed with the rest of the plan without incident. He then starts to circle the area while ferociously firing at anyone he happens to come across. As they start screaming and scurrying away, people who are utterly terrified. While Bill's plan is proceeding as expected, 2 patrolmen arrive and attempt to stop him. However, their bullets miss Bill because of his bulletproof armor, and they died because they were out of ammunition. Bill does not put a stop to the massacre in spite of the many bodies on the ground. He specifically frequents locations where food is served in order to terrorize the locals there. Additionally, he confronts the barista with whom he had previously argued and humiliates him by having him order the same coffee before killing him. Following that, he stops at a spot to rest and get some water. The place is crowded with women who are about to panic. Bill enjoys watching them become frightened as he watches them flee the scene unharmed. When everyone is sure that they are safe, he returns and brutally massacres them just for having his mask taken off in front of them. Then, Bill enters a bingo parlor that is packed with elderly people, but none of them have seen him. He requests the best sandwich they have from the concession stand as he gets hungry, but as usual, he doesn't seem to be satisfied with it. Unexpectedly, he makes the choice to allow the elderly bingo players to survive because, even without his assistance, they are going to pass away soon. Soon after, he walks into a bank to start a robbery. Like a skilled bank robber, he quickly takes control of the establishment. Then, in an attempt to knock Bill down, one of the workers suddenly throws himself at him. He begins a bloodbath there by opening fire on terrified bystanders and slitting the employee's throat out of rage over the incident. The bank manager is then approached, and he is given the order to open the safe. The bank manager finally gives up and hands Bill the money after several futile attempts to buy time, just as Bill starts to spiral out of control. He performs a show in front of the bank by setting the previously printed fake money on fire to convey the message that it is useless and the root of all the world's problem. The next scene shows him on his way to his next victim when his mother calls. Bill pretends to be unaware of the terrible events that he actually causes, telling her that he hasn't left the house. His mother tells him to stay inside despite the fact that he drops a clanger just before hanging up, not noticing it. The girl who was in an argument with Evan is then fatally shot as he dashes to the chicken den. Evan then calls him and yells at him for being late. Until he arrives, Bill asks Evan to hold off. Evidently, they had intended to play paintball in a nearby wooded area. He learns via his radio receiver that a police squad led by a sheriff named Melvoy is returning to town as he makes his way to the woods. So he goes to the town's welcome sign and detonates a sizable bomb there while he waits for the unit to arrive. Evan calls Bill once more and lets him know that he is leaving because he is sick of waiting. Bill, however, adamantly insists that Evan stay put because he is catching up quickly. The sheriff and his cronies are driving 2 cruisers towards the town's entrance, and Bill uses trash talk to entice him to stay, implying, "I'm going to kill you, man." Bill sets off the bomb and obliterates one of the cruisers as soon as they get to the welcome sign. However, the sheriff and 2 additional deputies live and pursue Bill through the forest. Bill exits the vehicle and tries to convince them not to pursue him any further. They start shooting him right away despite Bill's warning. When this happens, he blows up his car in retaliation, killing 2 deputies instantly, and then he runs into the woods. Without the assistance of his deceased colleagues, Sheriff Melvoy is left with no choice but to go after the psychopath alone. The sheriff can only see trees as the chase continues through the forest. He starts looking for a sign he can follow, but unanticipatedly comes under attack from behind. Finally, Bill stabs him viciously, leaving him to bleed to death. He then runs to Evan, who is shocked by both his appearance and the amount of cash he is carrying. Evan is knocked out and rendered helpless by Bill using a stun gun, after which he grabs a gun and repeatedly shoots Evan in the head. Bill creates the appearance of a suicide by dressing up as him and providing a target for accusation. He cleans up the mock suicide scene, burns everything that might cause trouble, and then goes home. His worried parents come over and check on him as he is lying on a couch watching the news. They are left in fear after Bill tells them that his friend Evan is responsible for all of these crimes and displays his shocked face. If you were aware that a psychopath killer lived in your home, it would be much more terrifying. Bill is putting his possessions and the money into a suitcase in his bedroom. Evan's father, who has a strong anti-government stance, is being arrested as it is being shown on TV at the same time. Bill, who is overjoyed that his meticulous plan was successful, is startled to hear Evan's father yelling his name and claiming that Bill is to blame for everything that has happened. He hears this and gets his suitcase right away before leaving his room. He publishes a video online 2 years after these incidents and describes what he did in it. While he repeats his worries about a lack of resources and overpopulation of the earth, he claims that he wants to present his own solution to these problems so that others may be able to sustain a little bit more of life. The video has come to a conclusion. Thank you for watching.